Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Senator Wendy Rogers from Flagstaff, representing rural Arizona, but in this case, representing, of course, all of Arizona. We serve to support our families, our children, our grandchildren. So when my grandchildren asked me, Grandma, what is this squatter bill all about? And I said, well, it's like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, which is the clearest and most commonly cited example. This is when Goldilocks goes into a home, enters the bear's forest home without permission when they're out. She eats their porridge, sits in and breaks their chairs, sleeps in their beds, making her the classic intruder squatter. And so this is where we've come after 3 attempts now to run the squatter bill. This is the situation where you go on vacation, you come home, and someone has occupied your home. Not only occupied your home, but very possibly wrecked your home. We are a state of property owners, and property rights are paramount. So what does this bill do in adult language? First of all, it closes loopholes. And what we're talking about is cutting unnecessary red tape, giving property owners the tools they need to protect what is theirs. Again, what is theirs? The legislation was years in the making. I want to call out Brooke Huppenthal, who has been instrumental, who's nothing less than the daughter of the great John Huppenthal here, who was one of our very famous senators who got a lot of legislation passed over the years and was our school superintendent. So there's sort of a pedigree involved here in the excellence of how the bill was crafted and collaborated. I want to specifically thank the Arizona Police Association for their support and advocacy through this process. I also want to thank the constables, and one of the constables will speak to you in a minute, who often deal with these difficult situations on the front lines all across the state. And I want to thank the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. I represent 4 other counties, as you know, but in particular on this bill, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office has been wonderful with their partnership and support in helping us move this forward. The first-hand experience among these stakeholders has helped shape a practical solution. We are a state that's practical, hands-on, and we want to protect property owners while maintaining the process. So, this is a major victory for Arizona homeowners, property rights, public safety, and it's a celebratory press conference because, as you know, this has been signed into law, and we're very, very happy for that. Arizona is sending a clear message. Unlawful occupation of someone else's property will not be tolerated. I'm proud of the coalition that has come together to make this happen. I'm grateful to everyone who helped get SB 1426 passed. Today we celebrate the common sense reform that puts Arizona property owners back in control of their property. And so I want to say that who we will now have to speak is Maricopa County Constable Scott Blake with the Constables Association, and he will be followed by the representative of many realtors who are here, who see this up close and personal, Tim Beaubien. And we'll take questions after each of the speakers has spoken. Thank you.
Thank you. Private property rights are one of the cornerstones of a free society. The ability to own, enjoy, sell, or pass property to future generations is deeply rooted in both the United States Constitution and in Arizona law. The Constables Association applauds the Arizona legislature and the governor for their support and passage of SB 1426 and how this bill will help the state of Arizona. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Tim Bobian, Senior Director of Government Affairs for the Arizona Realtors. I would just like to thank Senator Rogers as the bill sponsor for this, as well as Senate leadership standing behind me as an integral part to finally see this pro-private property rights measure signed into law. The bipartisan support of this bill this year shows what an impact this is going to be for Arizona, and that private property rights are a bedrock not only for the great state of Arizona, but for our great nation and an important part of the Realtors' legislative agenda. We are glad to see this signed into law. Talking to other realtor associations across the country, we have unfortunately seen what happens when other states do not prioritize private property rights. The Arizona Realtors and the group standing behind you here today are going to continue to be a voice to ensure that that does not happen in the great state of Arizona. Thank you for being here today, and with that, I turn it back to the bill sponsor.
Thank you. Any questions? And you represent who?
Jordan Gerard with the Arizona Capital Times.
Yes.
How prevalent is this problem? Is there an estimated number of cases of squatters per year?
How prevalent is the problem? It's still a problem. I don't have numbers for you. We had a victim who was going to speak but wasn't able to make it today, who not only found squatters in her home, and this was in the press, but lost her home because of theft of the records and so forth. So it is still a problem. Sure, our border is secure, but we still have nefarious actors inside our country who would perpetrate this on property owners. And so one never knows how the ebb and flow of events will occur over the next many years. Our job as legislators is to craft and put together legislation that's timeless across the years. And so this will bring in, as I say, all these stakeholders to help property owners overall.
Senator Rogers, I'm going to briefly interrupt you. We have DeAndrea.
Oh,
who
great.
is a victim of a squatting crime. She's going to share some of her testimony.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Hello. Thank you so much for giving me this time here. This has been a very horrendous experience for my family, but I'm so grateful to the senator for being very proactive on this matter. My family and I it's been very hard. The insurance companies, it's like no one understands, but we as all Americans, and not just Arizona, this is a big problem, but really in Arizona, us all coming together to make sure that this doesn't happen. We all work, we all are working hard to keep our mortgages together, our paid and everything, and for someone to be able to come in while I was away taking care of an elderly person, just move in my house and steal it, it was very, 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 very heart-wrenching. I raised my children there, 12 years of just real hard work. A teacher at Job Corps, I did all the right things for this to happen. It just was unheard of. I didn't even know that it happened. And I was a realtor at the time. So me being a realtor, I pay my dues. I do this, and I know how hard it is to get a mortgage. So I just wonder, like, who didn't do their due diligence. So I'm very happy that the Senator Rogers, she's doing her job. Like, we can't get behind something like this to make sure that we're all protected. I'm just so happy that all of these great people are here and we're all on the same page so that this doesn't happen again, because we're all great working people and we all want to protect each other. So maybe if we hear something, say something. And I just want to say thank you again. Thank you so much for this time. And hopefully we can get this ratified. We don't have this happen anymore.
What were some of the issues you ran into?
The issues were really just getting the property reinstated into back to us. The property, what they did inside the property, it wasn't protected, it wasn't covered under our insurance that we had been paying all these years. So you don't understand. And the other thing, identity theft. The identity theft part was hard. You have to get past the identity theft and then you have to find out who did it. So going down the rabbit hole was no one there to tell us how do you handle these things. It was no, I guess, system. So systems are important. So I believe that that's what's first and foremost important, that, you know, Senator Rogers is saying we need a system. We need something that's better for us as a whole to protect us. And so I am grateful that this is being handled, this is being looked at, because the way that they left the property after picking up the pieces to go back after 12 years of raising my children, they ransacked and went through my whole life. And they were living there, and then they just sold it from under me. And this was all within a couple weeks.
With that said, was anybody prosecuted in the process, and what was the end?
These two people were prosecuted, and now this just happened in this year. So it's been a whole almost 2 years I've been out of my property, homeless myself, because I have property and I have things. No one want to help because they're like, look at your bank account, you have money, but I'm studying paying a mortgage, I'm still paying these things, and no one understands. Like, and I'm still taking care of an elderly person. And this was in Michigan. Her house was being taken advantage. She had vascular dementia. Someone tried to take over her mortgage. And I was down there trying to help her. She was an attorney and she used to live here. And so she was in Michigan sick and I was taking care of her. I had a brain aneurysm, so I was dealing with my own medical issues. So all of these things, while we're trying to heal, someone come in and take your home. It's very unfortunate, but it can happen. Me as a realtor, I never even knew it could happen because I do my due diligence. I work hard with the community and I make sure that all of the proper insurances are taken, all of the proper channels are taken. When I sell a home, I go through with my clients. So I just want to be an advocate of protection. If we can protect each other, then this don't have to happen because all of us work too hard. And we just got to care about each other. I mean, I care about the money that you make. I'm thankful for our officers and the senator and everybody. We work together so this don't happen again. And I thank you guys so much for this moment.
Deandra, can you say and spell your first and last name?
My first name is DeAndrea, D''Andrea. My last name is Turner, Turner.
Any additional questions?
I have a question
Go
for the
ahead.
senator. Senator Rogers, can you talk a little bit about some of the protections that are in place to make sure that this, this new law doesn't come in between tenants and landlords in tenant-landlord disputes?
The question is how this actually operates mechanically. This alerts, I'll refer to my notes and possibly ask Brooke to explain as well, but it makes it a certain kind of crime at the Supreme Court level. It expedites the constable being able to get the person out. In fact, how quick would you say is, how quick, Chief? I have my police chief from my district, Apache Junction here. How quick could you get someone out now with this new bill?
Well, we would be able to get them out a lot quicker, but it'd be a more timely process.
Right.
And a better
So
process.
it'd be a matter of a couple days
Yeah.
maybe, rather than weeks of trying to define whether or not the person was lawfully there. And Constable, what would you say is, if you might join me, the single best advantage time-wise of being able to react?
So the process has been streamlined. A normal eviction would take place over a period of about 19 days. So this is streamlined into days, not 19. And that is a huge help to those who have come and found unlawful occupants in their house.
So maybe 3 days versus
You know,
19 days?
Yeah.
Okay.
As a follow-up though, so but this process couldn't be used to get tenants out of a property.
Correct. Why don't you talk to the Landlord-Tenant Act? I like to go to the expert. Okay.
So there are additional protections provided under the bill specifically for that subsection to make sure that there aren't any prior oral contracts, written contracts between the two, that there's no familial relationship there to be able to kick someone out of the home, just to make sure that this will directly apply to squatters and squatters only, or unlawful occupants.
So it's not the situation where someone's lover has fallen out of grace and they want to kick the lover out. Yeah, that wouldn't pertain.
Any other questions?
Great questions.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.